What's up, guys? I'm Chris, and today you're watching a magic review on Occult by Kaleb Wade. What is Occult? Occult is a set of modern-day ESP cards. Now, these are made out of PVC plastic. They are unmarked, completely unmarked, and we'll get more into the method here in a second. But these consist of a crystal ball, which would be your circle, I forget what this is called, Ankh. I'm pronouncing it wrong, but that would be your cross. The Ouija planchette, which would be your wavy lines or triangle. It's easier to remember triangle when you look at this one. Your skull, which would be your square. And the hand with the all-seeing eye, which would be your star. So, right, the 5 fingers, 5 points. I don't think I'm giving away too much there because that's not going to mean anything to a layperson. But anyway, so it's a modern day ESP set. Packaging and what do you get? So it's going to come in this little white kind of plastic case, or not plastic, cardboard case. So unmarked, which is cool. I like that. And then also you will get 10 of the ESP cards, 2 of each symbol. I'll give you a close-up of each symbol. So there's the crystal ball, the cross, the Ouija, the skull, and the hand. You'll also get 3 additional cards. You'll get 1 with the Occult logo. This is a double backer, or double facer, and the skull. You get a blank double backer, and then you will get an additional skull because there is a routine in where you predict a skull. Now, I should also mention there is something special with this card. It is unmarked, however, it's designed in a way that if you need to force a card, this will work. I can't say too much more on that. So the quality of these is very, very good. Like I said, they're PVC plastic, so they're not going to warp. If they get wet, it's not a big deal. Kaleb designs everything more towards walk around and strolling. You've probably heard of his Frankenstein book test, which was kind of designed in that aspect, and these are no different. So the quality is very good. The cards themselves, as well as all the images. Let's get into the tutorial. So the tutorial is a PDF file. It's an entertaining read. I really like Kaleb's style of writing and also kind of the humor that he throws into his tutorials, just because it makes it as a more fun and interesting read. You're going to learn a 4-phase ESP routine that gets more difficult in each phase. So the first phase is you are able to divine an image that they selected. Now, these being unmarked, I should mention that there is some memory work because this uses a different principle, right? They are unmarked, so you have to use another method to make everything work. With that said, the memory work is very, very simple. If you are familiar with ESP cards, you already have the symbols memorized using the kind of mnemonics that are built into the designs. So when I say memory work, it's very minimal and you've probably already got it down. With that said, the beautiful thing about these being completely unmarked is that you aren't relying on a marking system, which means you can look away the entire time because you're not going to be looking at the back of the cards. You don't need to. So that's what's really nice about this, is it's a more pure form of mentalism. It's probably the closest to real mind reading as it gets, because they can look at the cards and there is nothing to indicate what card is what, right, from the back. So anyway, with the routine, the first one is you're going to divine an image. The second one, Kaleb uses his bracelet as a pendulum and gives that to the participant, and by asking them a question, the pendulum will move, and then you go into your next revelation. The third phase, you divine 2 images. Usually, if you're involving more than one spectator, they can each pick one. But what's great about this is that you are divining images from a completely shuffled pack. So, again, if they had any idea of what the method may be or how it may be done in the first 2 phases, this eliminates that, right? So now they can't suspect markings because they're completely unmarked, and they can't suspect any kind of memory work because everything was shuffled, right? So there's no specific order. And like when you're doing card magic, the idea of the deck being shuffled is that if it's shuffled, you couldn't have set the deck up in any specific order. Same idea here. And then finally, the 4th phase is the revelation of, like, it's like a matching effect, but also a prediction that you've had the entire time. So very, very good, very powerful full routine. There's also some other kind of, not necessarily full routines, but ideas in the PDF that are additional to the main routine. But everything is covered very, very well in the tutorial, so it's not like you're left wondering what to do next. He goes over that very good. And I really love Kaleb's thinking in every project that he's put out, all of his work. He puts a lot of thought into this. So not only does he put out good products, but the thinking behind it is very, very unique and very, very clever. Difficulty level. So like I said, you're not relying on a marking system. So I guess maybe this could be considered a little bit more difficult, but I think the payoff is much, much bigger. It's definitely worth learning these routines and getting to understand how this works, because it is, in my opinion, more powerful than using a marked deck. Angles. This is 100% angle proof. And even with normal marked ESP decks, it still is angle proof, but this goes beyond that because you can be completely looking away the entire time, and it just seems that much more impossible. Setup and reset, arts and crafts. There are no arts and crafts to this. It's ready to go out of the box. Setup, I guess it depends what phase you're doing or what you want to do with the cards. But in the main routine, there is a initial setup. It takes seconds, and really you're just putting the cards in a specific order. Pocket spacing, can it be inspected? So everything's going to fit in here, which is probably about a quarter of the width of a deck of cards and approximately the same size. If you're carrying a prediction, then you'll just have one of the cards in an envelope. Really doesn't take up any more pocket space than this. Can it be inspected? Absolutely. So here's your back design. Yeah, nothing. So they can look over these as much as they want. Obviously, they're not going to find any markings because there are none. The back is completely blank. If they want to try and feel to see if there's any bumps or, there's nothing. That they are what they are. There's absolutely no markings. So 100% examination. They handle the cards. They can do whatever they want with them. They're not going to find anything because there is nothing to find. Is this a worker, and who would use this? So this is definitely a worker. This, like I said, Kaleb designs his work and products to be working material. So walk around, strolling, but this can also be done close up. This could be done on stage if you want. Like I mention it in almost every mentalism review that I do. It's not so much about the environment, but how you present it. And who would use this? This is obviously designed for the mentalist, so this is going to be used by a mentalist doing mentalism. Oh, and the fact that they are different than your standard ESP, this also is expanded to work as, you could use them as regular kind of ESP routines and you're just a mentalist, or this can be used as bizarre magic, kind of like with the occult theme, right? So It has a different spin on ESP. You're not using the standard Zener symbols or Zener cards. I should also mention, if you didn't notice, the images, they're all one way. So that's another way of using this deck, is it's a one-way deck. What's the price, and is it worth your money? So this is £22. I think that's 100% worth the money. The fact that they're made of PVC, you're never going to have to replace these. They're never going to wear out. You know, they're going to last forever. You get 13 cards in total. So not only do you get the 10 basic cards, but you get 3 gaff cards. So I think that's completely worth it. You're getting a lot here, and it's unique, right? This isn't your standard ESP, so it's going to have a different feel to it, different presentation, different approach. Pros and cons. Negatives. There is no negatives to this. It's different, right? It's different than your standard ESP. So if you don't want to put in any work as far as memory work goes, then maybe you'll consider that a negative. But I don't, because of the way that this was designed and the fact that this is about as pure as it will get. You know, like, yes, you can't eliminate memory work because you have a marked deck, but with this, you have the added benefits of being able to look away at all times and to not even really handle the cards. This just allows you to do so much more. And like I said, it is not difficult at all. Kaleb goes over everything in full detail. It's not hard to do. The pros, I love that these are unmarked and that these can be examined, inspected, looked at for hours. You know, not that they will, but yeah, there's nothing to find here. I like that this is a fresh take on ESP. Yeah, I like the symbols. I think they're designed really well. The quality overall is great, as well as the routine. Like, the routine as a whole is about as strong as it gets. And each phase, not only does each phase get more challenging for the performer, but each phase is a lot different from one another, in the sense that it doesn't feel like you're just repeating the same thing over and over. Like, it has variety, for lack of a better term. So I would definitely recommend picking this up. This definitely gets my recommendation. If you like the video, subscribe, like, comment, follow. Also, if you want to support the channel beyond just coming here, much appreciated. There's a link in the description for a buy me a coffee, which is just another way of supporting the channel. So with that said, I'll leave a link in the description below on where you can pick this up, and I recommend that you do. With that, we'll see you at the next review.